Okay, so I am going to do a quick tutorial on how to create a trial, an experimental trial in Qualtrics. And so you're going to get one of these templates, like Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4 experiments. And the template's going to look like this. Okay. And first of all, there is something that you would need to do in the look and feel. So make sure that this blank theme is selected. And then if you click on motion, okay, you should click these three options to check them. Okay? All right, and then you can just do save. All right, so those of you who have not used Qualtrics in a while, or not for a while, never, need to know that it's very much clickable, right? So if you click on something that's a question here, for instance, you can create a different kind of question. You can add a question. And so basically what you'll be doing is creating a bunch of questions and then putting those questions in blocks. And each block is going to be a separate trial of your experiment. Okay, so first of all, you're going to need consent form, right? And so you'll have to come up with something that, you can say, consent, even though we're not going to put this through the IRB, right? This is just for teaching purposes. That's what you guys are doing. We're going to collect data, and the participants need to still consent to participate in the experiment. So you'll need a paragraph or 2 or 3, right, of informed consent. And I've got some templates that I can share with you if you like. But basically it needs to describe what the experiment is going to be about, how long it's going to take, and any other information like whether the participants have to complete all of the questions. I mean, we're going to pay them a little bit here, I assume, so that information has to be there. For the time being, you can just leave it, right? If you're not sure what to put there, leave it for now. We'll get to it later. Okay, you can rename this question to consent. It's good to name questions as a rule in Qualtrics. And okay, so this could be your consent block. One of the things you might want to do is if you click on this gear and you do add skip logic, okay? So if participants select no, I do not want to participate, right, we're just going to kick them to the end of the survey. Okay? So we just do it this way, do skip logic, click done, and we are all set. All right, let's add another block here. Okay, so let's add a question here. I'll make it a descriptive text question. So that's a question that doesn't have any answer choices. And this is where you would want to put your task instructions. If you want to include any survey questions, you can do it here, but I would say just save it till later at the end of the experimental trials. Okay, so make sure that this is a trials question. This is a text question. Okay, so this is the basic skeleton, and now you can add your first experimental trial. Okay, so what you're going to need to include in each trial is 3 elements. You're going to need to include a time in question. Okay, add a time in question, and this is going to help you know how long the participants take to respond, right, to your question. Okay, you also would want to add a question that presents your pictures, your faces, right? I want you to do a descriptive, just a text question, okay? And here's why. So if you click on this text, click Rich Content Editor, okay? And you're going to come into this box. You can delete this default text here, and there is a graphic, insert graphic function. So what I want you to do is click on this, okay? and I want you to insert, right, the face or faces that you'll use in this particular trial. Okay, if you upload a new graphic, you would have to select a file. And so let me just do this. So I created some stimuli in earlier today, and this is one of them. Okay, let's see what it looks like. So you really have to make it smaller. Okay, this is huge. So what I would suggest you do, you set the height to no more than 500. Click Update Preview. Okay, and then make sure, right, that this is legitimate. Make sure that this is like 200 and something, right? Make sure this is 500. And click Save. Okay, so you have uploaded this picture, and now you can actually click on it, and bingo, there it is. Make it centered. So click on this right button here to center it. And the reason to do this is so that if people view it on a large screen or a small screen, it's going to appear the same. It's going to appear centered. Okay? So now you need the question that the participants are actually going to be answering. And in one of the tasks, like I think it's the 2011 paper, the question was something like, which face is or looks happier? Okay, something like that. Click on Rich Content Editor, select the text, then make it larger. There you go. Choices, the face. Okay, let's do the top face. Click on this arrow, Rich Content Editor. Make it a little bit bigger. And this is the same thing for the bottom face, Rich Content Editor, and you make it bigger. Okay, and this trial is going to be, I can say trial 1. Okay, so now what's going to happen is if you want to preview this block, click here, Block Options, View Block. It's going to kind of show you what it's going to look like, right? So this is what the participants will see. And once they click on an answer, it should take them to the next question. Okay, so a couple of more points to consider. You would want to click on Record Values and select these two things. So variable naming. Okay, so this is what you can get in your data file, what you're going to get in your data file. So you need to establish a convention. For instance, one can always be, emotional half of the face on the left, like here. 2 could always be the emotional half of the face on the right, like here. So in this trial, the emotional half on the left is at the top. Okay, so emotion top, or actually, hold on, emotion left. Okay, and here, in the bottom face, the emotion is on the right side. And this is really going to help you, right? When you look at the data file, help you connect participants' responses to your stimuli. This is a critical step, right? You want to interpret your data. So you need to do this to interpret your data. Okay. This is it. This is one trial. Now, if you want to add a second trial with a different face, you can do it this way. So add block, add a time in question, add a descriptive text question, rich content editor. So here you would insert a different image. Okay, so you could upload a different image and you will have access to it here once you upload it. Let me actually do this. Okay, so let's do this one. This is a cartoon image that I created. I don't have a second different face for you, but you'll have, right? You'll have multiple faces. And make sure again that this is 500 and this is something like, 215 or what, right? I don't know. You might have to kind of play around with this to give it the correct dimensions. But, close to 500 is what you want. Update preview, make sure this is all right. Click save. And then go back here again, and you should have that image available for insertion. Okay. Again, center it. And you need to add this question. Now, how can you add it quickly? Click copy question. And then if you go down here, you see these arrows, so you can move it down. Okay, and this is trial 2. Okay, so, but here, right, the same question, but it's going to be coded differently, because remember, here the emotional half on the top is on the right. So you go to coding, recode values. Okay, so top face, right, emotion is on the right. So we'll make that a 2 if they select the top face. That is happier, right? And then if they select the bottom face, the emotion on the bottom face is on the left. Okay. So this is really good, again, because in your data file, you'll actually be able to make sense of the participants' responses. And you can just count those 1s and 2s, right? And their proportion is going to be one of your dependent variables. Okay. If you want to insert something like a fixation point, right? So I haven't shown you how to do a fixation point here yet. This is how you would do it. Let's say you want to add a fixation point, so something that participants are going to look at, right? Plus sign in the center of the screen that will help them direct their gaze. Let's add that. Okay, so I'm going to add a page break, and I can move it up here, okay, because the fixation point is going to go before this trial. And then I'm going to add 2 questions. One question here is going to be just a timer question. So for how long would you want your fixation point to stay? Let's say, 1.5 seconds. So you select auto advance after 1.5 seconds. You don't have to show the timer. You don't have to do anything else here. For the second question, okay, fixation point, this is just a text, and you can just do a plus sign like this. Make sure that it's centered. And make sure it's as large as it can be. Okay. So now, if you preview this block, you will see a fixation point for 1.5 seconds. And then it's going to automatically advance to the trial here. Okay. And then the person says, let's say, bottom face. Bam, it goes to the next trial. So this works pretty well. Okay, so if you want to have any kind of survey questions, right, after your trials, you can include a block here, and you can create, questions in this block. what I would suggest you do is that you name your trial blocks, like trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. Okay, and the questions can also be named. These multiple choice questions can be named. That is going to make it easier for you to look at the data. Okay, so trial 2 is the name of this question. Okay, so finally, if you click on the survey flow here, what you would want to present is your trials in random order for different participants. So I only have 2 trials here, right, in my example, but let me show you how to randomize those 2 trials. You click this Add Below button. So remember that block 1 is my, let's see, what is it? It's, let's say, task instructions. Okay, so I can name it task instructions. Okay, and so I want to randomize the order in which trials are presented. So I do Add Below, Randomizer, and then when you click Move, you can drag these onto the randomizer. Okay, don't drag the final block of survey questions, right? You don't want to present that in a random order. But what this does, it presents 2 of these blocks in a random order. So each of these blocks is 1 trial. So you're going to have multiple trials. You'll have what, 10, 15, 20 of these. So you'll have these here, and every participant will see them in a different order, which is one way to basically control for any kind of presentation order effects. And you save the flow. Okay, so there is a couple of other steps here that I will talk to the groups on an as-needed basis. Okay, but for the time being, this recording should enable you to put together an experiment, okay, and make sure that it runs the way you want it to run and that it collects good data. To collect data, we'll have to publish it once it's all ready, and we'll have to actually collect some pilot data first from ourselves, which we would analyze, okay? And then once we have that pilot data, once we know we can actually do something with those results, that it looks good, we will collect data from a larger sample of people.